Hello, my name is Daniel Sutton, and I am doing a persuasive speech for my oral communication class. And the topic that I chose is performance enhancement drugs in sports because, in my opinion, it negatively affects the way the game is played, and as a fan, it can be infuriating from time to time when you see players who aren't as good as they are without the drugs. So, um, for me, it's baseball is the first thing that comes to mind because I grew up playing baseball and I've always enjoyed the sport, playing, watching it. And a lot of times, especially when I'm actually at the games, I would sit and I would look at the players that play and I would be like, I wonder if they're truly as good if they were a natural talent. Like some of the players that are better than others, I was wondering if there was something that got them there. And when it comes to baseball, in my opinion, the most popular person that falls under this category of using performance enhancement drugs to get them to where they are today is Barry Bonds. And I know a lot of people who don't know about sports probably wouldn't know about Barry Bonds, but if you do know anything about baseball or even like simple things about baseball, he is the home run king of MLB, Major League Baseball, basically, because he has hit the most ever home runs in his entire career. And as I was looking through his career, it made me wonder if he would actually be able to accomplish that same feat without using the performance enhancement drugs. So I looked through a couple of things and I did some research. And the year that they claim that he started using performance enhancement drugs is the year 1999. So he played 12 years before that, and during those 12 years, he averaged 34 home runs a year. So that's an impressive feat, by itself. But 34 home runs, you see that and you're like, well, why would he need performance enhancement drugs if he's already playing at such a high level anyway that it wouldn't require him to need anything other than that? So as I was looking, there was a article by Ted Berg of USA Today that compared stats before and after. So he played 8 years after that, retiring 2007, and in those 8 years he averaged 44 home runs. So I saw that and I was like, wow, that's an outlandish amount of home runs to hit per year. So as you look through his stats, you see stolen bases is the best way to tell if a player is, slowing down or not, because it requires you to use agility to steal a base. So I looked at his stolen base percentage and how that worked out. And you see when he's younger, he has all these stolen bases. And then as he gets older, he rarely steals bases. I mean, he ended up that final 8 years, he had less than 100 stolen bases. And I know the first thought would be, oh, well, you take a look at that, it's because he's older. And as you get older, you're not going to want to use your body as much and, exert as much energy. But you just take a look at the way he was before and after, all the weight he gained, and a lot of people blame it on age. And especially in this article, because he claimed that the stats were so similar that even without the drugs, it would not have been a problem. And to me, I don't believe that. And like, I understand the argument because, you would think that he would be able to, but in 8 years to do something almost near impossible, and then for it to not be like a natural thing, that's unfortunate, but still, it just isn't realistic that without performance enhancement drugs, he would have been able to accomplish the things that he did. Athlon Sports, they put up a article that agreed with USA Today, but they claimed that since his stats were similar, that as he got older, that once again it was age, but not only that, since his hitting went down, that he was just trying to, his focus was hitting home runs because he knew that he could reach that goal. And that's how come his home runs were improved. And as I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, that may be the case, but as you get older, you're not going to be able to hit home runs as hard, and things become more difficult. One thing that a lot of older players deal with is fatigue. And for me, it would be like, if I'm getting older, and I'm already a well-established player myself, I'm not going to do anything that could cause me to get myself injured. And that's the thing with enhancement drugs, is it puts a harsh toll on your body, basically, because a lot of people believe that the people that do the performance enhancement drugs, they know the consequences, and it's them taking a risk. And to me, it's not really a risk. Like, as you look at it, it's like, if you just don't do it and then you see what your natural talent is, that is what defines you as a player. And I know not everyone agrees with that, but in my opinion, I would rather see people play to their max potential than play to something that's not even realistic for them to do by themselves. Another article is by Dave Brown from CBS Sports, claims that Barry Bonds should not have any negative light on him, since what he did was in the past, and that as time progresses, he has learned from his mistakes and all this stuff. And even as a young person, I look at that and I'm like, well, if you're claiming that he's learned from his mistakes, is there not going to be a punishment for what he did wrong? I mean, you take a look at it and you're like, well, I did X, Y, and Z, but I've learned from my mistakes, so why don't we just not have any problems? You don't have to punish me for it, and I've learned, I'll become a better person. I've become a better person over time. It doesn't work like that, especially with sports and how everything is so quick and everything is judged. I mean, every player is basically put under a microscope, whether it's social media or just them being there, and because when a player comes into something like a big organization and establishes themselves as a star, there will be people that will try and make them look bad or write bad about them, but there will also be supporters. And for me, the supporters of Barry Bonds, post realizing that, he did do something wrong, that still stand by him and see him as, well, he's influenced other players